Hail Odin, traveller. It is I, Matrick the Red, chieftain of all the Norsemen clans down here. Pardon my accent, traveller. Me ancestors came from the Scottish lands, like William Wallace and all that. Fine ancestor he was, portrayed in retellings by Mel, son of Gib. Here in me humble village, we're bombarded by winter storms that send chills down me spine, where the white wolves howl, and the white bears growl, and the white boar picks off me villagers and uses his tusks to peel them like bananas. The storm's Thor sends down here with his mighty hammer, Mjolnir, it makes us crustier than weak old bread. Therefore, to keep our minds as sharp as our axes, and to entertain us through this frozen Helheim, our sages tell us these wonderful stories. Our favorite such story is the tale of the Megazoic. This story tells us of a world countless generations ago, of dragon-like creatures wielding weapons of light and blowing each other up like the volcanoes in Iceland. The hero of this tale, Khotan the Smith, must venture on a journey to rescue his brother-in-arms from the clutches of the fearsome Turanian kingdom. Oh, an evil dragon-like creature that prince was. Think of the worst king or lord or other person of politics you can imagine, and this prince was like 2 times worse. Sends a hearty shiver down me back, that does. Khotan the Smith warily creeps into this enemy kingdom, while his traveling party knocks down Turanian warriors real good like. Oh, and there's this dark dragon wizard named Olejex, who conjures up even fiercer dragons through his twisted alchemy and thaumaturgy. Oh, I don't even know what the word thaumaturgy means, but it sounds real nasty, it does. This tale is one of great heroism and triumph, where mighty warriors clash against ruthless opponents, just like me fellow Norsemen battle against the storm wolves, and storm bears, and storm crows, and the terrifying storm geese. They'll peck their bills at your chest until you're dead, those will. This kind of wondrous tale really lets us hardy Norsemen escape to a more fantastical land. If you're interested in this tale yourself, dear traveller, I hear there's a place in the spirit realm that binds the world, a worldwide web, if you will, called the Amazon, where you can order these Megazoic tales in a codex form. Odin himself will ride his 8-legged horse Sleipnir and deliver this codex right to the doorstep of your thatch-covered hut. Sounds like a wonderful bit of magic, that does. The winds are growing stronger, laddie. A mighty blizzard is heading our way. I must depart, dear traveller, and prepare our village for the coming storm. Find some shelter, dear traveller, and watch out for the storm geese. They travel in flocks that swirl and writhe like the devil himself. There they are! Run, I say! But don't forget to get the Megazoic Codex from the Amazon!
Welcome, fellow nerds, to another episode of the Ritwit, the only show that dares to ask, what have we at the Ritwit writ? I mean, not this week, but asks it sometimes. So, we've got one more episode before Matt David sachets his glorious caboose back to the show. Therefore, this week, I'm joined by another reoccurring guest host, all the way from episode 28, Avoiding Gender Tokenism, Christina Franklin!
Hey, glad to be back.
Yep, glad to be back again. We actually had to re-record this, listeners.
Yeah, not very easy with a concussion. Sorry in advance, but it could make things a little more comical.
Yes, we'll see what we can do. We'll see how to handle your concussion well. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but we're sticking to it.
Heads up, if you guys hear any noise in the background, it's either my 6-month-old son or my 5-year-old daughter.
Or me.
Yep.
Or my husband.
Or her husband. There's a whole family over there. Meanwhile, over here, it's just little old me. So, anyway, so this week, Christina Franklin suggested the idea of talking about inspirational works and why they're so hard to write. And I was like, sure, why not? So here we are. First question. I guess we're just going to go right into it. What about inspirational works makes them so hard to write? And how do you take it beyond?
Alright. So, this is definitely a multi-question with multiple answers.
Yes.
So, I think the main thing that makes them so difficult to write is that you need to inspire, you want to inspire, without being preachy.
Right.
I know a lot of people don't like to talk about religion, but I'm going to reference it here anyway.
Why not? What harm could it do?
So if you think of the parables told by Jesus in the Bible, they're never explained, just told.
Yeah, who is that Samaritan? I don't know, but he's good.
So if you're going for a fictional, inspirational work, you definitely want to just tell your story. If you start explaining the lesson to your readers, that just shows you haven't written it well enough that you think your readers will get it.
Right, exactly.
So in the words of Jerry Jenkins, one of the co-authors of the Left Behind series with Dr. Tim LaHaye,
ah, yes, co-authoring.
You really need to trust your audience enough that they'll get it.
Right.
On another point, you need to think about who your audience is and how you want to inspire them. Whether you want it to be more of a self-help sort of thing or a fictional inspirational work. We could really go into each of these.
And I'm sure we will. Yep. No, it's definitely, I definitely think, you need to figure out, like, how to write it and how to explain your point and think about your audience. Those are all very good things to do. I'm listening, I swear. Well, I think that all writing, well, as I like to say, all writing has some intended reaction it wants from its audience. I heard a noise.
It was Gabriel.
Hi, Gabriel. Some want to give a message. Some want to challenge the reader. And some, like my Megazoic books, which you can buy on Amazon.com, just want the reader to have fun watching dinosaurs blow each other up with laser guns. But to inspire people, that's difficult. Real difficult. How do you make the reader feel inspired? Are you trying to inspire them to do something in particular? Edit points. Okay. Okay, where was I? Okay. How do you make the reader feel inspired? Are you trying to inspire them to do something in particular, or do you just want to give them some general motivation to move forward in life? Not only do you have to write a quality story, you have to subtly... I'm going to just mute your end, by the way, when I talk about this.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I just gotta keep talking, and I can just mute your end until you talk. Okay. Okay. Not only do you have to write a quality story, you have to subtly give people a push towards whatever message you're trying to give them, and make them feel that message in their hearts. Honestly, I have no idea how to do stuff like this, at least not actively. I'd like to think Megazoic books inspire readers to be like Cortan and push yourself through situations that aren't necessarily ideal to do what you think is right, but again, that's not the point of the story. It would just be a fun perk.
Which actually you did.
Well, thanks.
Because think of everything that he goes through.
Right.
And he still pushes through. He may not want to be doing it.
Yep.
But he pushes through. And ends up in a better position.
Right. He becomes a better person / dinosaur. So.
He even ends up in a better position than where he starts, with his boss not thinking he can do his boss not wanting him to do.
Right.
What he can do.
Yeah, exactly. And then
he reaches his potential just by pushing through and fighting for his friend.
Exactly. So, yep, listeners, you better get your notepads down because you got some lessons to learn with my book about laser gun dinosaurs. But anyway, so taking inspiration beyond, I say, have a cute dog. Those always seem to help.
You and the dogs.
Okay, I'm a dog person.
Well,
sometimes I try to be a cat person, but cats just don't like me usually. And I'm also very wary around cats. So.
To be fair, my cat actually runs and hides when anybody comes in.
Oh.
So anyway, as far as taking it beyond, I mean, we're talking about why someone would even want to write an inspirational work. I mean, they're so hard.
Yeah, exactly.
So why would someone want to?
Well, I think there's a lot to be gained from it. Like, as well as like helping other people, you also kind of have a reference point for yourself in case you need it. Like, if you want to write these because you feel like that someone in need needs these, so needs to be inspired by stuff like this. But as well as that, while you may be fine now, someday you might need this inspiration too. And so here it is, ready to go for you and anyone else.
Well, see, and it doesn't even have to be a full inspirational novel. It could just be, say, poetry that someone could, even yourself, could take just hope out of.
Right, exactly.
Now, I know that the inspirational bit wasn't your intention with the Megazoic books.
Right.
But would you ever actually consider trying your hand at an inspirational work?
Maybe someday. Probably not now, because there's a lot of stories that I think are cool that I want to tell first. But in terms of a story that like will inspire people, that's the main goal of it. Yeah, maybe at some point. Just probably not anytime soon. I don't think I'm ready for that yet.
So, I mean, you'll hear about mine later, because I actually am working on one.
Okay.
However, I think that even if you've never done it, especially if you've never done an inspirational kind of work before, I think everybody should at least try it, just to build themselves up as a writer. If you just write one thing, your writing's going to get stagnant.
Yep, no, that definitely is. Someday I'll write about things that aren't about dinosaurs, but it is not this day. No, it isn't. Okay.
Oh, the dinosaurs.
There's more to me, I swear!
Oh, definitely.
Okay. So, once I guess someone has decided to write an inspirational work, how do you choose what to write and where to start?
Well, I mean, the only way to write is to start.
Yes, absolutely.
But with an inspirational work, I really think the start comes well before the first keystroke or that first dot on the paper from a pen or pencil or crayon or quill or what have you.
Yeah.
So you really have to look at yourself and ask why you want to write it and where your passion is.
Right.
Yes, you should write the story you want to read, like you with your Megazoic books.
Right.
But your reason for writing an inspirational work should not be about you.
Yeah.
If it is, your work will sound very inauthentic and tacky.
Makes sense.
Inspiration starts in the heart, so shouldn't too an inspirational work?
Makes sense.
I mean, this brings us to passion. You should tell the story in your heart, but also only write from what you know.
Makes sense. I mean, it's always good to write from what you know. That's why I decided, hey, I know a lot about dinosaurs. I'm going to write about dinosaurs.
Well, for instance, this actually takes me to what I was talking about just a minute ago.
Yeah.
A friend of mine who's actually more like a sister of almost 2 decades.
Nice.
I mean, she came to me a few years ago wanting to write a fictional inspirational series with me that we call Eyes of the Past.
Right, so I guess you're throwing in a little bit of what we at the Writ have writ in here. A sneaky little segment.
You never know what's going to happen.
Oh, who knows? Who can ever tell?
So as we slowly work on it, I've discovered a few reasons why she came to me.
Right.
Now, she knows what it's like to grow up with only one parent like our main character.
Right.
And how you only know what you know about the other parent from them, from pictures, from other family members. And our main character, Ellie, short for Eliana, is a deaf single mother, which pulls from my knowledge of sign language, the deaf community, the differences in the way of life between the deaf and the hearing, as well as pulling from my 4 years of experience as a single mother and the way that changes the dynamics of a relationship with a significant other over the years.
Right, exactly.
So there are many other ways that we pull from our own knowledge and experience, but this just shows a little bit that you can pull aspects from anywhere. I mean, can you really think of anywhere that you can't?
Nope. I thought about last time we recorded, I was like, I don't even remember what I said. So maybe it was the nostrils? I don't remember.
I believe that it was either plucking or shaving your nose hairs.
Oh, that's right. Man, I'm a wellspring of wisdom.
However, I was able to come back with that if you have a scene where your main character, who happens to have a very hairy nose,
right,
has, say, a big interview, a big meeting, say they're getting ready to propose or something, and you want to show the effort that they're making, knowledge of how to shave or pluck your nose hairs could well go toward...
I guess there's a thing for everything, isn't there?
There really is. Alright, so you can pull aspects literally from anywhere to help aid your story.
Right.
Of course, you will want to tailor what aspects and the story to your audience and how you want to inspire them.
Right, exactly. Well, I think the most important thing to remember before starting is to think of the lesson you're trying to teach your readers, or how you plan to specifically motivate them. Don't make it forced, but know what you're trying to do, and like Christina said, pull from your heart. Make it something that means a lot to you, and by proxy might mean a lot to others. Think about your story, not necessarily the story you're writing, but your backstory, like what the I don't know, the thing that defines you, the way the world defines you. What brought you to write this? Where have you come from, and what has that experience taught you? The world is a big place, and however unique your situation might be, certain elements of it are universal. Pull from those, and use your experience of dealing with your past when writing your work.
So I think that pretty much sums that up.
We did it! You can just stop right now and write the most inspirational story ever. But alas, we got a time quota to fill. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we actually still have one more thing to cover.
No, we got a lot of things.
Well, a couple other things.
We got a couple more things, listeners. Don't worry. Just keep your rumps to the chair.
Unless you're listening while you're running, then keep running.
Oh, okay. Well, no. Sometimes your heart needs a break, you know? Sometimes you've run too far and, you're just like, you know what? I've had enough. I mean, that's how it is when I run anyways. Is that the way everyone else is? Hopefully.
Well, for me, if I'm running for very long, I have an asthma attack, so I can't exactly run much myself.
Well, so if you're listening to this later...
Stop running!
Sit down, take a break, get a drink of water, refresh yourself.
Alright.
Okay. As we previously mentioned, there are many different kinds of inspirational works, from fictional and spiritual to self-help or speeches. What's the difference in the process used to write these different types of inspirational works?
Alright, so while there are many other types of inspirational works, I'm not sure we have time to cover every type of inspirational work.
I mean, maybe not, but we'll see. No, we probably won't.
But I would like to point out that self-help is not the same as a how-to.
Right.
I mean, you may be thinking, really? Are you sure? Yes. To me, self-help is more inspirational in nature, and a how-to is instructional. Like the how-tos are more like the For Dummies series or the Complete Idiot's Guide to
How to Put Batteries in Your Remote Control.
She reads all the time.
Love you too.
It's kind of funny. Last time we recorded, I said, "How do you plug in your remote control?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's not what you do."
For those of you listening, that voice in the background was my husband.
Hello, other Matthew. There's another Matthew. There's too many Matthews in the world.
So.
By the way, listeners, I'm not trying to call for a Matthew purge, I swear.
So, I mean, yes, a self-help book could start with how-to, but it would be something more internal, like how to get through, say, the death of a friend.
Right.
Not going with the example from yesterday, because that was kind of funny.
I do not recall, but I'm sure it was.
I'll remind you later.
Okay.
So, with a fictional inspirational work, you want to draw from knowledge and experience.
Right.
For a spiritual-based inspirational work, whether they be fictional or not, they need to portray the values and morals placed forth in whatever your spiritual base is, be it Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, atheism, what have you.
Scientology, flying spaghetti monsterism.
I mean, you just need to make sure that you have the basis of whatever that spiritual base is riddled all throughout. If you stray from that, then your spiritual base is so rocky it's not going to carry.
Right, exactly.
So for these two types, you really need to assume that your audience gets it.
Right.
Otherwise, you cross that line into preachy.
Right. We don't want that.
However, this is a very fine line, because for speeches and self-help, you kind of need to assume that your audience knows nothing.
Makes sense to me. It's like those for dummies things. In
that
way.
But that's how to, not self-help.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying that, like, in that way, it's a little similar.
Yes.
At least in that particular way.
And I think that's why some people see self-help and how-to as one and the same.
Right.
So it really is a fine line, and it makes you wonder at what point is an intended inspirational work no longer an inspirational work.
Right, exactly.
So with speeches, you really just need to get to the point, I think, otherwise people would tune out.
Right.
But with self-help and other nonfiction inspirational works, you have a lot of research to do beforehand to see what exists on your chosen specific topic and what really will set your work apart from what's already out there.
And for more information on that, listen to, I think, was it episode 37 of The Ritwit? The Nonfiction and Science Journals Fun? Ding? I don't know if it's the right one. Hold on, let me check. I'm so professional. It was 37! Yeah!
Yay!
I even said this joke yesterday when we recorded, and I still forgot.
That was late at night. That was almost 24 hours ago.
Almost, but not quite. I think the difference in terms of process of writing these, is what method the inspiration is given. If it's a fictional work, the inspiration comes from the actions and the plot of the narrative. If it's spiritual work or like a speech, it's from the author or speech giver as told by their personal experiences, as well as the religious, sort of stuff that like Christine was talking about. I'd also like to add an additional source of inspiration, the history of the author themselves and how they got to where they were, regardless of the story. I'd like to think if my Megazoic books get more publicity, people would be a little inspired by this doofus of a kid, diagnosed with high-functioning autism, true story, homeschooled through high school before going to a real college, actually managed to get their writing out there by working hard and never giving up.
So, I mean, even if it's where it is now, you obviously have a decent amount of publicity, because, I mean, come on. If somebody actually names their character in a game after your main character...
Right. That's right. I don't think I mentioned this on the show before. So I was playing a game, Heroes of the Storm, in case anyone's curious. And it's like an online game where you have like teammates and you fight the bad guys and like who are other people throughout the world. It's all fun. But they on my team, I noticed the other day that there was a guy with the username Cortad, which is the name of my book's main character. As I probably mentioned earlier, when we were talking about the inspiring thing, I forgot already because I'm a goldfish. But so I thought it was a coincidence at first. I'm like, that's got to be a coincidence. But then I asked him. I sent a text, "Hey, Cortad, have you read Megazoic?" And he said, "Yes." Yes. So, yeah, so my book's famous, apparently. At least to that guy. It was noteworthy enough for him to name his username after the main character, so.
And if you want to take a look to see that this actually really happened, check out his professional Facebook page. He's got it posted there.
And I've got a picture.
It's actually pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I did not expect it to happen at this point in my career. I thought it'd be a lot later.
Alright, so just a few final thoughts here.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to try your hand at this, you need to write with your heart.
With your heart, yes. Get your heart out. Rip your heart out. Dip it in ink dip pen and smear it.
No, listeners, do not go out and buy a quill and stab it into your heart.
Yeah, get your quill, stab it into your chest, take the blood from your heart, and then write with that.
But no, let what's in your heart come out through the pen.
Yes.
While it's still in your body, please. Otherwise, you can die.
I can do it. I can let what's in my heart come through with the pen very easily. Ah!
So, you want to write from your place of passion with your audience and what direction you want to inspire them always in mind.
Yeah.
If you want to check out a few examples of inspirational works, you can check out books like But Inside I'm Screaming, Freedom Writers, which is also a movie, by the way.
Cool.
Some of you may have seen it.
Google these, listeners, and write these down.
Wild at Heart, Redeeming Love. Of course, there's the Eyes of the Past series, but it's not quite released yet.
Yeah, but I'm sure when it will be, it'll also be a movie. Or 5.
Very sweet. Well, it is a 5-book series, but that's very sweet.
No, they're all going to be one big movie.
That would be way too long.
Yeah.
So, the most popular one that I can think of would be the Left Behind series,
Right.
which both has an adult and a young adult series.
Right.
Now, this is a very successful exception to the general one audience rule.
What was that again? I don't know if you mentioned that before when we were talking.
Ah, yes, I mentioned it yesterday, but I haven't mentioned it today yet.
Okay.
So, generally, when you do write an inspirational work, you want to make sure that you have one audience specifically. For instance, like with these Left Behind books.
Right.
Jenkins wanted LaHaye to choose, okay, are we aiming these books at believers or non-believers?
Right.
And Dr. LaHaye said both. He refused to choose.
Why have one when you can have it all, I guess?
Generally, you only want to choose one specific audience. Otherwise, you're going to end up sounding wishy-washy if you're on both sides.
Right.
These two men did such a good job with this series that it is a very successful exception to this general one audience rule.
Ah, makes sense.
All right.
All right.
So, any others you can think of?
Oh, wow. Thank you for asking, Christina. So she touched upon this a little, but actually she touched upon it quite a few times, actually. Don't be preachy. If your work is constantly like, do this, do this, do this, with the subtlety of an atom bomb, you're going to drive people away. You might even make them do the opposite thing, because they're like, I'll show you. To truly inspire people, you have to stand alongside them and showing them what to do, rather than trying to stand above them and ordering them around.
Hitler!
Yeah, exactly. And like Christina said, write from your heart. Not with it, from it, or, whatever. But you've got a story to tell. You want to help people through your telling of your experiences. Give them your hand and say, hey man, I'm with you. We're all in this hunk of rock, floating through space together, a rock that we're slowly poisoning as we kill and steal from one another, overpopulate and pollute until another space rock inevitably smashes into us and ends civilization as we know it. So let's pep each other up, yes?
On that festive note.
So yeah, on that festive note, anything else for the good of the cause?
I think that's all I've got this week, you?
I'm feeling properly inspired, as our listeners are, hopefully. Okay. Alright, so yeah, that's it for this week. Thank you very much, Christina, for coming aboard to the Ritwich train.
Here anytime you ask.
Before it inevitably careens off a cliff. So yeah, if you want to contact us, you can contact both of us. If you want to contact Christina Franklin here, you can. Why not send her a message? I'll relay them through. You can contact us at mattd with 2 T's at matthewdoncreator.com for any general questions to either co-host. You can use your own email system or the one at my website, which is at matthewdoncreator.com. If you want to follow me personally and see that Heroes of the Storm picture, you can find me on Facebook at matthewdoncreator. At MatthewDon64 on Twitter, and MatthewDon64 on Instagram. Why 64? Because one day, a puppy walked down the street with big plans for his puppy career. He was going to work at the puppy plant and get 6 biscuits a week from his puppy boss for his puppy work. The puppy went to the puppy plant and asked for a puppy job, But the puppy job interviewer said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Puppy, but you're not what we're looking for this job." The puppy was devastated and walked down the street feeling real dejected, when suddenly a breeze sent a fly right onto his face, showing a job opening for the other puppy plant in the puppy city, one that would pay 64 biscuits a week. The puppy was so excited, his puppy tail wagging and spinning like a cyclone. So the puppy went to the job interview, and this time, he got the job. The moral of the story is, don't feel sad when you're rejected from the path you want, for it might lead you down another, better path.
Instead of Aesop's fables, here we have puppy fables.
Indeed. Told through puppies, because people love puppies, and therefore the story gets cheap sympathy points. People are like, oh no, the puppy didn't get his puppy job! And as Christina noted earlier when we were talking about this, I said the word puppy 16 times in that story. So if you read it 4 times, you got 64 puppies and 256 biscuits.
Or if you just read it once, 16 puppies and 64 biscuits.
Yep. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Okay. So I hope the story about 64 inspired you. Ooh! Oh, what nonsense is this?
Our nonsense.
Indeed. All right, well, thank you very much for coming in, Christina Moore. Next week, Matt Seivert is finally coming back. The glorious return of Matt Seivert. I'm sorry, Matt David.
You also said my maiden name instead of my married name.
Did I say more? Okay, hold on. I'm going to do this whole thing all over again. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Christina Franklin, for coming to join us. Next week is the glorious return of Matt David. So get prepared to get the parade all ready to go and the trumpets to announce his arrival. So until then, I guess we'll see you next week. So yeah.
Till then.
Bye.
The